What is up, awesome peeps? Brent McCluskey here with Electrified Reviews, and today we are reviewing the Voro Motors Orca Mark I sit-down electric scooter. Oh, it also folds, kind of. The top half does anyways. All right, let's roll the B-roll. All right, guys, so again, this is the Voro Motors Orca Mark I. We're gonna call it a, a sit-down, semi-folding electric scooter. How about that for a super specific nomenclature here? I mean, look, we say it's semi-foldable because the handlebars here, they do fold down, so we'll show you that here in a little bit. But look, this thing starts for $11.99, $1,199. There's actually a lot of stuff crammed into this small package. This is a very compact, kind of longer range commuter, and it's geared, I think, towards heavier riders or people who need a more secure, a more stable, a stronger platform. People like me who weigh close to 200 pounds and who are gonna be, carrying, I don't know, 35 pounds right there, something like that. So look, what's cool about this thing is it's got a max load capacity of 308 pounds, 308. So I just want to call that out from the beginning because a lot of the stuff that we review, guys, keep in mind, remember, like the max load capacities are kind of lower. Some of the electric scooters, the last ones we did, I think was like 185 pounds, 200 pounds. They're typically a little bit lower. And again, we'll talk more about this, but one of the things that's going to really help this is look at this big piece right here. That's called a gusset. And that's basically a reinforcement for the seat post here to connect to the frame. Typically when you see a gusset to connect two pieces like that, it's just one piece of tube and it connects at both ends. This thing is a solid piece and you can see it's welded all the way around. So the structural integrity on the Orca Mark I is gonna be pretty high, and that's what's gonna help lend it to that max load capacity of 308 pounds. So, all right, let's dive into the specs here on the Orca Mark I sit-down, semi-foldable electric scooter. We're just gonna call it the Orca from now on. Now, the Orca Mark I has a 350 watt motor here in the back. That's 350 nominal watts, but about 500 watts of peak power. Now, it's easy to think that, wow, 350 watts, that's just not a lot of power for something that doesn't have pedals, because we're relying completely on the motor here for propulsion for this. I can't pedal to help kind of get this thing up hills. But here's the thing, 350 watts on this bike or on this scooter right here, it actually is really peppy. And the motor is really strong for one primary reason. Look at these wheels. The wheels on this are pretty small. They're about 12 inch, I think they're 12-inch wheels here. And having these smaller wheels means that this motor has a mechanical advantage. So think about like trying to turn a monster truck tire compared to turning like, a Hot Wheels, little tiny Hot Wheels tire or a skateboard wheel, right? The smaller the wheel, the easier it is to turn it over, and basically it equates to more torque. So this thing is actually, with a 350 watt motor, believe it or not, if you're not careful, if you twist the throttle on this on a standstill, it'll actually wheelie, like the front end will come up. So there's quite a bit of power, even though it's a 350 watt motor. So I really wanted to kind of spend a few more extra seconds talking about that because again, this is a scooter with no pedaling, and the stats can feel a little deceiving, but the wheel size here really does make a difference, right? Now, 350 watts of power, that brings this scooter, well, it brings up to a top speed of 21 or 25 miles per hour, depending on which part of the website you read. I think there's on 2 places on the website. They've got 2 different specs here for the top speed. While we were testing it, you know, I got up to around 22 miles an hour, somewhere like that. Maybe if I had a longer stretch of flat ground or maybe a slight decline, yeah, I could have gotten up to 25 miles per hour. Remember though, again, I am one of those heavier riders, about 180 pounds, plus carrying about 35 pounds of gear. So you guys might be able to get it up to 25 miles per hour, maybe even faster, or if you're a bit heavier like me, you know, it's probably gonna be a little bit slower. Now, in order to reach the top speed on the Orca Mark I, this is gonna be a twist throttle, right? So this entire throttle, it's a full width twist throttle here. Try to get a better angle here in the sun. There we go. Yeah, this side's better. So the throttle here, it's a full grip, right? It's not one of the half grips, which I love that. It just feels more like a motorcycle or a moped or something. It feels really good to twist that, and it gives you a lot of control over exactly how fast you want to go compared to the half grip. So I really appreciate that. I like that Orca or Voro Motors went for the full grip there. Now, one of the things that's gonna really eat into that price point of $11.99, one of the things that makes this a kind of expensive electric scooter is actually the batteries on this. So the Orca Mark I is powered by a 48 volt electrical system built inside here, inside this middle frame. 15.7 amp hours of juice for a max range of about 37 miles. That's what the company estimates here. Now, 37 miles, that's, I think, a little generous. Realistically, real world is probably gonna be, I mean, typically real world is around half or so. I think you guys could probably expect 30 miles out of this if you're riding it conservatively, if you're a lighter rider, and if you're going on more flat ground like this. As long as you're not tearing up hills, you know, you're gonna obviously help extend the range. And we always say that, you know, the range is just an estimate. It really depends so much on the rider and how each individual person is gonna ride this thing. But that's a lot of juice, man. 15.7 amp hours is a lot of juice for this scooter, and that's a lot of batteries. Now, what's cool is because these batteries are internal, they're in this frame here, that's gonna help protect it from dust, dirt, debris, gunk, just getting in there and, you know, ruining the batteries over time. But also because it is inside the frame, it also does mean that if I want to charge this thing, I have to charge the batteries here along with the bike, right? Because I can't take them out. So just kind of something to keep in mind. There are pros and cons to everything, of course. Now, let's talk about the suspension here on this. So we've got, as you see, we've got this rear suspension right here, and this also has, boom, front suspension right here. Now, the front suspension is going to be about 30 millimeters of travel. Rear suspension, realistically, I don't know, maybe 5, 10 millimeters, not a whole bunch, maybe 10, 15, something like that. Not a whole lot. Now, the suspension here, it's really geared towards smoothing out the ride, just making it a more enjoyable experience. This is not for off-roading. It's not for, I mean, really, can you go off curbs and stuff? Yeah, you can go off curbs with this, but like, it's just not an off-road vehicle, guys. This is just suspension to kind of help smooth out the road noise. Now, one thing I would like to see on this, maybe a future model, is some preload adjust on this front suspension. I don't believe this has that. I think these hex nuts here in the top are just to tighten the tubes. I don't think it's actually preload adjust. If it is, then, you know, call that out in the comments. But preload adjust, it would be nice on this for 2 reasons. I mean, for the price point, I think that would be a nice thing to have. Also, having preload adjust is gonna it's gonna help these shocks kind of be custom tuned for each rider, right? Again, because if you think about this, the max load capacity on this is 308 pounds. So if you think of like 2 different riders, 308 pounds and maybe a 150 pound rider, that's a huge difference. And being able to adjust that front suspension for each rider, I think would make a big difference. For the rear suspension, I think it's fine. Would preload adjust be nice? Sure. Do you need it? Honestly, not really. Braking on this, it's gonna be mechanical disc brakes with 160 millimeter rotors here, front and rear. Got to love that. Braking power on this is just, it's plenty. It's more than enough. Now, we talked about the the motor having a mechanical advantage here because of the small wheels. I believe it's the same thing here for the braking. I think it's the smaller the wheels, the more powerful the braking, right? Like if I were to put, again, to think about the same thing, if I were to put these brakes on a monster truck tire compared to like a skateboard tire, just visualize, the difference of how difficult those would be to stop. So anyways, the point I'm trying to say here is that these brakes, they almost feel overpowered in a good way. Stopping power on the Orca Mark I is really good, even though it's just mechanical, it's not hydraulic. Typically I'll gripe about that and I'll say I wish it had hydraulic disc brakes, but on this, honestly, it's fine. You don't really need it. Now, the frame here on the Orca Mark I, the frame itself is gonna weigh, well, the whole thing weighs about 44 pounds. So really not too heavy. It's gonna be made of aluminum alloy. Now what's cool about this is, check out the frame right here. There's a handle built right into the frame, and it just makes carrying this thing pretty easy. You can just pick it up, walk it around, not a big deal. Which way did I have this? Here we go. Now, what I also like about this is, remember, this is a compact frame, guys. This is a compact vehicle here. So for those of you who do want to maybe use this for like RVing, for going on camping trips, whatever, it doesn't fold completely. Now I can take the seat post and the saddle completely out. It's just a pressure lock here. Boom, I can take that out. That's gonna save some height, make it easier to stow. And I can also fold the handlebars with just one quick latch. And then, that's gonna like pretty significantly lower the profile of this. It's gonna make it easier to store this thing, in a car, just in your home, whatever. This is really geared towards somebody who doesn't have a lot of space, in my opinion. Yeah, dig it. Now, for the display, this thing it's key operated, all right? So it's also got a remote. It looks like a Beamer, like a BMW remote or something. It's pretty cool. So check this out. If I click this, it sounds an alarm. I can lock it. I can unlock it. If I'm not sure where it is, I can say, I can click this button and it's gonna kind of make a tone, let me know where it is. If for some reason it's lost, like a car. You can also, I think, sound an alarm. Yeah, it's just gonna go off like that and then unlock to stop it. So that's kind of cool. I like that. It's kind of some safety features here. Now this is key operated, so I do have to have the key inserted and turned on for this thing to actually, for the display to come to life. And you'll see here, probably on camera, it's kind of hard to see the display on this. It's just, I don't know if it's better in the shade or the sun. The display is not super bright. I'd love to see that change in the future. Just swap out this display for something that's a little bit easier to see in the sun, because as it stands, this thing is really hard to read in direct sunlight. You really have to cover it to kind of, in real life, to kind of get an idea of what's going on here with the display. Now on the left-hand side, we've got a couple of different things here. We've got the lights. So this has a light system. We're going to turn those on. And you'll see, boom, we've got lights built into the front. And boom, we got a tail light as well. Very sweet stuff. We've also got three, I guess we can call them levels. Not pedals, it's three different modes, right? 1, 2, and 3, it just increases the power. And then lastly, a horn. It seems like a small touch, but honestly guys, a horn I think is really important for electric vehicles, just to let people know, hey, I'm coming up. Please scoot over. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to get in an accident, So I love that it has a horn. One thing about this, another kind of small feature, but I absolutely love it. This is a cell phone holder. Nothing special about that, but it does come with a USB Type A port. Let me see if I can get a better shot. All right, so I can put my phone right here and then plug it in, and it goes right into the electrical system. So I have, I can charge my phone while I'm riding this thing, which is just awesome. Or I can throw my phone in there and I can use that USB Type A port. I can put like a secondary light right here on the handlebars, and if it's USB powered, I can just plug it right into here. So just different options here for what you can do. And honestly, man, I just think that's a super cool feature. So look guys, I think that is pretty much it for the, one more thing I do want to talk about here is just the size again, right? So again, this is a compact vehicle, right? And because of these smaller tires, those 12-inch tires, and because of that really kind of shorter wheelbase, it can start to feel a little squirrely when you're riding it compared to a full-size like electric bike or something, because this does feel like a bike compared to a regular sit-down scooter like we're talking about, where it's a stand-up scooter with a seat kind of stuck in there. This is like custom built to be a sit-down scooter, and it rides kind of like, I mean, it rides exactly like an electric bike. What am I talking about? It rides like a bike, guys, but it's a scooter. There's no pedaling, right? But the point I'm trying to make here is that it can be a little squirrely, so just be careful when you first ride it because it does go pretty fast. I don't know, just be careful, get a feel for it before you just go, before you go ham. But look, that is it, guys. Let's take this thing for a test ride. Here we go. All right, awesome peeps. That is pretty much it for the Voro Motors Orca Mark I sit-down, halfway folding electric scooter. So in summary, again, this thing has a starting price of $1,199, $1,199. It is a really cool, compact, pretty long range like commuter because of that 15.7 amp hour battery and that max estimated range of around 37 miles or so. But remember, of course, the real world range is going to be probably quite a bit lower. Now, a couple of things I love about this scooter is just going to be that massive battery in there. I mean, that's a huge, huge perk for people who are looking to go longer distances on a more compact platform like this. I love that it's built to be a sit-down electric scooter instead of a stand-up electric scooter with a add-on seat attachment. It just feels much more stable. It feels almost like an electric bike, but without pedaling, obviously, because this is a throttle-only scooter with no pedals, no chain, anything like that. So for commuting longer distances, especially for heavier riders like me, this thing is going to be a pretty good option because of that max load capacity of 308 pounds. So, look, it's got full suspension, front, rear, it's got the cool foot pegs, it's got the 25 or 21 mile per hour top speed, however you want to cut that. It's got the display, so you actually have pretty good feedback for what you want. I think for $11.99, this is a fair price. One of the biggest things you're paying for this scooter is gonna be the battery itself. Again, guys, 15.7 amp hours is really big for an electric scooter of this size. And you know, when you have that much range in a compact platform like this, I mean, you're gonna have to pay a little bit extra for it. So again, for those of you guys who need something that can support a little bit more weight, that can go a little bit farther and is actually still compact and can kind of fold down a little bit, I think this is gonna be a good option for you guys. And I think that you will have fun on it, even though it does have a 350 watt motor. Again, because of those small tires, this thing feels really, really peppy, man. I mean, if you hit the throttle and you're not ready, it actually, believe it or not, will wheelie from standing still. It's pretty incredible. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you had a fantastic day. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much for the support, all the comments, you know, just the likes and the subs that you guys have been pouring in. Really appreciate that. It helps a lot. It goes so far. It helps more than you know. And honestly, it just helps, you know, this channel. It helps this platform. It helps us to be able to give you guys more giveaways. So again, sincerely, just want to say thank you for that. It's just really awesome. So again, hope you have a great day, and I will catch you guys next time.